Robin, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Now let's take a few deep breaths as we ground ourselves and enter into this sacred time together. We welcome you here. Whether you choose to be seen on Zoom or not, you are welcome here. No matter age, your size, or if you decide to speak, you are welcome here. No matter the color of your skin, your hair, or your eyes, you are welcome here. No matter whom you love or how your family is composed, you are welcome here. Whether your ability to contribute comes in the form of time, talent, or treasure, you are welcome here. No matter how you express your gender identity or whatever your abilities, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. Come with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands, you are welcome here.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazed with grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazed with grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place.
We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. May we shine a light of love. May we shine a light of love. With every thought, with every step we take, may we shine a light of love. May we shine a light of hope. May we shine a light of hope. With every thought, with every step we take, may we shine a light of hope. So before I share our Time for All Ages, I'd like to extend the invitation again for any children or youth or those young at heart who would like to come tie-dye with us this afternoon on the south lawn, the grassy part of the church, from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And those of you who maybe aren't interested in tie-dyeing but are interested in the results, we will have face masks and t-shirts here at the church starting on Tuesday for sale, the proceeds of which will help fund the kids' trip to Glenwood Caverns. So we hope that you will stop by during office hours and check out the kids' art. And that should have just given me enough time to pull up what I'm sharing for Time for All Ages, which I forgot to pull up. So I have a story this morning about listening, as this is our first week in our month of deep listening, our theme for October. So this is a children's story which the pre-K through first grade class read this morning. I'm seeing a note that I've lost my audio. Can you guys hear me? Thumbs up, yes? Okay, maybe it's just Robin, sorry, Robin. But yes, so this is The Rabbit Listened. One day, Taylor decided to build something new, something special, something amazing. Taylor was so proud when it was finally done. But then, out of nowhere, oh no. The chicken was the first of Taylor's friends to notice what had happened. Cluck, cluck, what a shame. I'm so sorry that this happened. Let's talk about it. Cluck, cluck. But Taylor did not feel like talking, so the chicken left. Next came Taylor's friend Bear. How horrible! I bet you feel so angry. Let's shout about it. But Taylor did not feel like shouting, so the bear left. The elephant knew just what to do. Trum-da-da, I can fix this. We just need to remember exactly the way things were. But Taylor didn't feel like remembering. So the elephant also left. One by one, all of Taylor's friends came. The hyena said, let's laugh about it. The ostrich said, let's hide and pretend nothing happened. The kangaroo said, what a mess. Let's throw this all away. And the snake said, shh, let's go knock down somebody else's. But Taylor did not feel like doing anything with anybody. So eventually, all his friends left, until Taylor was alone. In the quiet, Taylor didn't even notice the rabbit. But it moved closer and closer until Taylor could feel its warm body next to him. Together they sat in silence until Taylor said, "Please stay with me." The rabbit listened. The rabbit listened as Taylor talked. The rabbit listened as Taylor shouted. The rabbit listened as Taylor remembered and laughed. The rabbit listened to Taylor's plans to hide, to throw everything away, to ruin things for someone else. Through it all, the rabbit never left. And when the time was right, the rabbit listened to Taylor's plan to build again. "I can't wait," Taylor said. "It's going to be amazing." The end.
I haven't been able to hear anything, so somebody, can you hear me? Okay. Today's centering words come from Khalil Gibran. I have learned silence from the talkative, toleration from the intolerant, and kindness from the unkind. Yet strange, I am ungrateful to those teachers.
As we enter into our time of gratitude this morning, gratitude for the fact that I'm looking into this computer screen to see so many of the beautiful faces who I've grown to really love. And I get to look out into the sanctuary, into some of those very same faces. And I just come with gratitude for the fact that even when times are uncertain, we adapt, we do the best that we can, and when we have connection with one another, we stay strong, we stay well, we stay healthy. And so as we enter into this meditative music, When I Am Frightened, this is just a reminder that we have each other, we are not alone, and Sunday mornings are one of the times, my favorite times of the week, when I know that I get to be connected with all of you in whichever way and in whatever capacity is working for us. Let us now take some time just to listen and really take in the words of this beautiful song. We are surrounded by noise. Our televisions have hundreds of channels to choose from. We have satellite radio with thousands of stations to pick from. We can download any song or podcast we want on our phones or tablets. And that is only the sound part of noise. There is other noise in our lives, noise which is even louder. I call it the quiet noise of texting, email, and Facebook. And I didn't realize how much this noise affects me until I tried to turn it off during my sabbatical a few years ago. And I realized I couldn't do it. I did do it, but it literally took me a month to decompress enough to go through a day without needing to check my phone or email. Now, almost 2 years later, I realized while not totally back to the same place, it's pretty close. Especially this weekend, checking my phone almost hourly to see if there is a COVID update or news about the health of the president. And in this world of texting, email, and Facebook, and now Zoom, we are in a world of instant knowledge, immediate response, instant gratification. I can text Maya during the week, and I usually have a response within seconds. The problem as I see it is not that we have these tools or technology. I will say the technology is very convenient, as we are seeing even today. The problem exists when these tools become our crutch, when they become our reality or our escape, when they become our coping mechanism, when they become the convenient excuse to avoid face-to-face communication with the people in our lives, or they become the noise that blocks out the quiet inner voice of wisdom that we all possess. A few weeks ago, Danny literally called me from her bedroom upstairs the other day to tell me to read my text, and then she hung up on me, waiting for me to reply. Because who actually just walks downstairs to talk to each other anymore? Or at the very least engages in a real phone conversation when you can simply text it. And it's not that technology is bad. You know, this week I've used it a lot. This coming week I intend to use it a lot. The problem is when we are not able to disconnect from it for even 24 hours without feeling anxious. That's the problem. It's our reactions to not having technology that is unhealthy. And so in a world that in some ways is more connected than ever, in other ways, I think we are becoming extremely disconnected from one another and our own lives. And the pandemic has shown us this, and in some ways, it has also helped us regain some balance. Throughout the years, I have always wondered, and I think I've shared this with some of you before, I've always wondered what it would be like to stand up here at the church on Sunday morning and just not talk for 20 minutes. If I did that, would there be an awkward silence? Would you all look at each other, wondering what was going on? Would there be a sense of embarrassment, a sense of confusion? Would you all sit with me for 20 minutes in silence? Or would some of you eventually stand up and say something? Or even get up and leave? Someday, if I get the nerve, I'm going to do that. Just stand up here and say nothing and watch the responses. Not doing that today, though. We are a verbal society. The written and spoken word play essential roles in our culture. And as I mentioned earlier, we have so many radio stations, television networks, YouTube, TikTok, so many avenues of communication. We're constantly tweeting or texting or getting into conversations on Facebook, or we're watching movies, or we're listening to the radio, or we're using TikTok, or we're Instagramming, or we're sharing selfies. We're reloading our news feed, keeping an ever vigilant count of COVID numbers. For some of us, silence or quieting our minds never even enters into our lives. And so I thought about this for a while, but I wonder what would happen if just for 1 week the world became silent? What would happen if for 1 week nobody could say anything? What if for 1 week nobody could write any words or go online or text or tweet or use their phones? What if there was no political commentator or radio talk host telling us what or how to think? What would happen? What would that look like? What if for 1 week we had to make our decisions about people based on their behavior and not their words? What if we had all watched the debate on Tuesday night with our mute buttons on? How would our perceptions of one another change? How would our perceptions of our politicians and our religious leaders change if there were no words to hide behind? Would it be easier to figure out who's being loyal, who's being deceitful, who is treating their neighbor with kindness, who is storming around in anger? How would other people see us? We are a society that tends to believe what we hear as much, if not more, than what we see and actually experience. And so what if we allowed ourselves to trust our eyes, to trust our intuition more than our ears? What would that coworker in the office really be like? She says the right things and her words are civil, but we can't tell if she really likes us or if she's being sarcastic. What if we could turn off all of her words for a week and just watch her actions? What would that tell us about her? What about the grumpy man in the nursing home who is constantly yelling at people? What might we learn about him if we turned the volume down and just observed? Would we still see an angry old man? Or might we see something else in him? Loneliness? Fear? What if people began to do the same thing to us? Would people be able to get to know us? Would we appear cold and distant or warm and caring? What would they see? When we stop talking, we can listen. When we listen, we can hear. When we hear, we can connect. When we can connect, we can see. And when we can see, we can finally acknowledge the real person behind the mask. Father Thomas Keating says, God's first language is silence. Everything else is translation. God's first language is silence. Everything else is translation. I like that. I like the idea of making time for quiet because it gives us the chance to release the noise and get reconnected to our purpose. I understand that one of my purposes as your minister is to listen to you and to hear you, to be able to hear you, and to see you so that we can all begin to see ourselves once again. And as your minister, I cannot do that if I have filled my life with too much clutter in the form of Facebook, texts, and emails. Because even if there is no sound, there is still noise. And that's the problem. There's so much noise in our lives. And I believe it's the noise that creates the great disconnect. Noise creates anxiety. It creates second guessing and distrust. So the question becomes, how do we disconnect so that we can get reconnected? When I think about the profound gift of silence, an image usually comes to my head. And this is an image that I have shared a number of times, but I will share it again because the truth of it is not diminished with repeated tellings. So when I was living in Rhode Island, I was the chaplain at a nursing home there. And we had a lady named Rita Topa. And she was kind of just the wise, gentle soul. She was the spirit of the John Clark Retirement Center. And Rita did not have any legs. She was always in a wheelchair. And this story is about Rita and B. B was a lady with early Alzheimer's disease, and she was very, very anxious, and she would just go up and down the hallways. And in her anxiety, she was just pacing back and forth. And what Rita would do almost every day is Rita would just roll her wheelchair over to B, not say a word, and let B just take hold of her wheelchair. And the two of them would just stand together. Well, B would just hold on to her wheelchair and they would just be together in silence, calmly sitting in silence, no words. And we could just watch B's anxiety just decrease. And it was simply by Rita simply being who she is. And Martin Buber says, when two people relate to each other authentically and humanly, God is the electricity that surges between them. This is exactly what happened between Rita and B. One of my favorite books, and one that I have quoted a lot over the years, is The Mutant Message Down Under by Marlo Morgan. And in this book, Miss Morgan goes on a walkabout with an Australian Aborigine tribe in Australia. And they're walking for about 10 days, and she had noticed that when they walked, they did not speak. And one morning as they were walking, the entire tribe stopped at the same time and got down on their knees. And she asked her translator what was happening. And he told her that the young scout who had been sent ahead to go get food had found a kangaroo. And because he was feeling ill, he was asking permission of the tribe to cut off the tail so that he could bring it back. And sure enough, about an hour later, the young scout came back walking with a kangaroo with no tail. And it was only then that Marlo realized that the tribe had been using mental telepathy with each other. They had been communicating the whole time. They had just not been using their words. And that was why they never spoke as they were walking. They did not need to. And when she asked her guide about this, he said that they believed that the purpose of the voice was for singing and worshiping, not for communicating. They felt that trying to communicate with words was very dangerous because words are always inadequate and create breeding grounds for misunderstanding. He explained that just as she thought it was strange that this group of people could communicate without words, they thought it was even stranger that our society had to use strange plastic devices to put to their ears to talk to one another. And when she asked why we couldn't do this in the West, they told her that we have too many things we're hiding. They told her that even though it is an inherent human ability to communicate with mental telepathy, as long as we are deceiving and lying to ourselves and each other, they will never be able to use that type of communication because we are blocking it. That type of mind talk only works when people have nothing to hide. And in this society, we have plenty to hide. We have lawyers working not to get the truth, but to manipulate the truth. We have politicians saying what they think each side wants to hear and then doing whatever it is they were planning to do all along anyways. We have doctors sharing only what they think is convenient for the public to know. We have our own news media showing only one side of a story based on their own perceptions of reality. And even in our individual day-to-day lives, how many of us are completely honest with our thoughts and feelings? We put up our walls, we put on our masks, and then we hide behind our to-do lists and Facebook and Twitter. And it's no wonder that we have so much loneliness and despair. We don't know each other, and we don't even know ourselves. So it's time to get silent. The movie Good Will Hunting is a wonderful movie, and in it, Robin Williams plays a psychologist who is sent to work with a troubled young genius played by Matt Damon. And this young man has scared away all of the other professionals who are trying to help him with his sharp wit and cutting words. He is so intelligent that he has found a way to create a safe boundary around himself by picking up on people's insecurities and using them against them before they can say anything about him. However, Robin Williams' character is not so easily scared away. He decided that until Will is ready to get real with him, they will just sit in silence, staring at each other. It takes 3-hour-long sessions with the two of them just staring at each other before Will finally breaks the silence and lets the relationship begin. It took that amount of time with the two of them sitting in silence across from each other before Will could begin to trust Robin Williams' character. And it wasn't until he was forced to stop hiding behind his sharp wit and cutting words that true connection was made. And I've often wondered what would happen if our world leaders would just come and sit across from each other in silence for a full day before they start any negotiations. I wonder how that would work. No words would be spoken, no agreements negotiated. It would just be two people sitting in the room together, sharing the silence. Eventually, one of them might be willing to speak. So I'm asking you today to just think about it. Maybe go home and spend an evening watching television with the mute button on. What do you see? Take a close look at the person close to you. What is it that they need today? Look around you. what do you see? Do you see the people in your life? Can they see you? If not, maybe it's time to turn off your device and take a look around and begin to return to the home of your soul. And with that, let us sing together, Return Again.
Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again.
Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again.
So I am going to allow us to unmute ourselves, and we'll just have a bit of a conversation about, we will have some words about silence in a very ironic way. So Floyd, I see that you unmuted yourself. Would you like to say something?
Actions speak louder than words.